Team USA is forcing Caitlin Clark to change her infamous 22 number.
You won't believe the extent of pandemonium that is currently taking place. Sue Bird, a literal symbol, a name engraved in the pillars of women's basketball, just had what can only be characterized as a full-fledged public outburst. A breakdown, so sudden, so powerful that even the insiders were at a loss for words. This is the shocking thing that caused the entire circumstance. Caitlin Clark has reportedly informed Team USA that she is completed, finished if they don't permit her to don her iconic number 22 jersey. Indeed, that figure is the highest recognizable figure in sports for women at this moment. Additionally, Sue Bird's response to this demand, well, it didn't only make waves. It caused a tsunami to sweep across the whole basketball globe. Executives are in a frenzy, whispering. Analysts are rushing, and they're right in. In the midst of all of this mayhem lies a managing director who unexpectedly discovers herself attempting to plug 10 different holes in a ship that is sinking more quickly than she is able to save the water. This is not a little drama in the locker room. This isn't a trivial disagreement. This is a nuclear-sized crisis with the ability to change the USA basketball's whole history as we are aware of it. We are discussing the greatest celebrity the sport has ever seen in decades, effectively providing Team USA with an ultimatum in private, and Sue. The recoil caught the Bird off guard. However, before we dissect every aspect of Sue's desperate response and the precise Caitlin is said to have dropped phrases while that private discussion, I must hear what you have to say. If you were in Caitlin's, would you actually leave shoes over a jersey number? Team USA? Let go of your respond in the comment section because, believe me,
your viewpoint is important in this
dialogue. Additionally, remember to hit like and subscribe to the video so that we can. No one else will stop conveying the truth. Speak aloud.
Honestly, I'm not a very creative person. I was born on January 22nd, so it's what I went with when I was about 5 years old.
Okay, Queens, let's start by the center of the catastrophe. The USA team has
formally designed the largest, most
unneeded crises in contemporary women's basketball. Worst of all, they did it to themselves by making a choice that is it's so confusing that it nearly seems deliberate. They insisted that Caitlin Clark, the sport's actual face, the most captivating athlete in the whole basketball world, give up her famous number 22 for the forthcoming training camp in December. Several sources near the scene, Caitlin's the answer was as direct and icy as a mid-court dagger. If I'm unable to wear my number, I won't be attending.
Sue is now.
Bird, Team USA's managing director, is allegedly losing sleep, spiraling, requesting emergency meetings, summoning queries such as, how did we allow it to get this awful? Because it didn't just escalate, it exploded. Let's make anything extremely obvious. This has nothing to do with a figure. Respect is at issue here. This is about identity. This has to do with telling the planet's largest star that her brand, her heritage, the emblem that millions of admirers identify with her, is irrelevant. The fans are furious. Analysts are in disbelief. Additionally, behind the backstage, executives are questioning whether USA basketball is genuinely aware of they are dealing with a generational phenomena.
With
Caitlin Clark is not another participant. She is well known throughout the world and a cultural force, a once-in-a-lifetime celebrity whose the institution is weaker than the brand. It is attempting to manipulate her. If you're tap that like with Caitlin on this one button. If you're not, please explain in the remarks. Naturally hit subscribe to ensure you never miss court. Queens is a chef. The worst possible firestorm erupted. moment, just as basketball enthusiasts were preparing for the huge star of Team USA. North Carolina Pack training camp, planned from December 12th until 14th. This camp was intended to be a joy, a time of solidarity, a display of the greatest talent in the world. Juju Watkins, Paige Bueller, and the rising veterans, celebrities, and the entire team. However, it instead became base zero for one of the most peculiar and most startling disputes involving women's basketball has seen in a long time.
A
dispute that could potentially its most recognizable player outside of the team as a whole. Reports started to surface, disclosing that Team USA intended to strip the numbers that characterized Caitlin Clark, her whole journey based on her records, destroying her college career at Iowa. Great WNBA rookie season. Moreover, the timing couldn't be worse. Caitlin's notoriety is soaring. Her global influence is growing due to the
weak.
And this choice, this negligent, avoidable, completely toned-down choice, has sparked an online rebellion. There are supporters everywhere at the moment. Flooded all of the platforms supporting her. Must remain unwavering and advise her not to give in, protecting her identity, her number, and her heritage. To be honest, you can't blame
them,
due to the fact that when a player modifies an whole sport in the manner that Caitlin has, you don't take anything from her. Instead, respect
them.
If you and Caitlin are standing together, make sure to leave a 22 in the comments. You have a subscription because things are rapidly heating up, and Court Queens is the only location that breaks everything down for you. Let's be clear about one thing. Since everything revolves around this thing is currently exploding up,
Caitlin,
22 is more than simply a number for Clark. It is the most recognizable, most recognizable and potent in culture number in today's women's sports. Forget about it. This concludes the conversation. As soon as she entered the Iowa court, dropping, changing shots, and recreating reality record books to her shift into the WNBA, where she became the most observed player in the league.
That
it has been her number. It's not only sewn onto a jersey, it's sewn into her narrative, into history, and into the identity that millions of admirers worldwide. The world's connection. When individuals observe 22, they consider more than just Caitlin Clark. They consider long-range threes that appear impossible. They consider passes that experience telepathy. They consider the fire, the electricity, and competitiveness that has turned her into a worldwide celebrity. That figure represents a heritage, a brand, and a emblem, a flag that supporters are carrying from crowded arenas to living rooms, all throughout the world, making an effort to detach. The number 22's Caitlin Clark is similar to attempting to distinguish excellence from the actual game. It is ineffective. It doesn't make sense, and it shouldn't be
tried.
Please hit like if you agree. Leave a remark and click subscribe button to allow Court Queens to continue bringing. We are the only ones who can tell you the truth.
Take a time to consider this. Really, take a seat with it.
There isn't another celebrity in the sport. She is the best athlete there is. Caitlin carries the number 22. Clark does. Not only has she worn that number, she is now that number within. Similar to how 23-year-old Michael Jordan, Wayne Gretzky is 99 years old. 22 and Caitlin Clark are combined in the history of basketball. Thus, when Team USA intervenes and insists that she give up that number at this point in her meteoric rising, many people are unable to feel as though it's deliberate, like a deliberate effort to break the connection she constructed with supporters using that iconic
jersey.
It's the type of choice that causes everyone to scratch their heads. And why would you do this? What are you attempting to demonstrate? Unless the genuine motive is precisely what it appears to be, a power move, a flex, and a means of making a statement. authority over a player who has developed larger, louder, and more powerful compared to the establishment itself. And what amplifies Caitlyn's pain even more, supporters, is that this isn't, for the first time, American basketball has seemed to lessen her influence. Earlier in the year, she was entirely and almost startlingly departed off the Olympic team, a rejection so dazzling, so stunning that admirers and analysts were taken aback. This is a gamer who regularly pulls enormous worldwide audience, a participant whose games break records, a player who has brought a whole sport into the mainstream attention by herself, but in some way, she consistently receives the short end of the stick. Thus, individuals are now beginning to whisper about a deeper, more expansive pattern. Agenda. Perhaps there is opposition within the veteran. Perhaps the long-time decision-makers are unsure of how to. A talent that is changing the guidelines for the potential of women's basketball. The sheer force of it intimidates them. Because, let's face it, none of this conduct makes sense unless you think about the potential that Team USA is attempting to prevent Caitlin Clark from growing larger than the system that produced her. Therefore, what number did they choose to coerce her into? According to official records from the camp, Caitlin Clark was given the number 17 for the next training session. 17. An entirely arbitrary, totally unrelated number, without any connection to her narrative, her identity, or her brand. By itself, 17 implies nothing. However, in this instance, because it's not 22, it means everything. This shift in force raises a lot of awkward inquiries. Is Team USA attempting to demonstrate their power? They're trying to remind Caitlin who's in control? Or are they simply unaware, completely disconnected from the scope of the cultural powerhouse she has grown into? For whatever reason, the message that was delivered to, it's really apparent. We choose what matters, not you. According to Caitlin, reacted using the only power she. I don't have to be here if it's not necessary. And this is the shocking revelation that really, her admirers were furious. No one, and I mean no one, throughout the whole training camp in the United States roster was given the number 22, but it wasn't. It wasn't reserved, it was stolen. Claimed by a legacy player or veteran. That one was just left unfilled. Details turn the entire scenario on its head. It's no longer a logistical confusion. This is no longer a miscommunication. This appears to be an obvious act of reducing the top star in sports. A choice so strange that even impartial observers are wondering what exactly Team USA is. Considering that if no one else is, why make Caitlin Clark wear it? One athlete who has acquired that distinction. To give it up 1,000 times over? Logic does not exist. Explanation. There is no rationale. Thing doesn't fall apart on its own weight, which is precisely why Caitlin allegedly dug her heels in and declined to bend. And now everything rests perfectly in Sue Bird's lap. As the supervisor, she is in charge as the director of Team USA. In order to welcome the new generation, choosing athletes for the training camp and establishing a dominant legacy, but rather than concentrating on the player, growth and global preparation, she's drowning in a crisis that was developed by her own company. Because removing the signature number of your greatest celebrity was consistently going to explode violently. Suburbs. Insiders claim that the reaction ranges from irritated to completely terrified. Meetings are allegedly being called by her, contacting advisors and frantically
To identify a compromise that
will continue to include Caitlin without totally undercutting the enigmatic policies that ignited this fire. But the truth is that Sue lacks the Caitlin Clark uses leverage.
does not require Team USA.
Team USA requires. She's already a champion. Already a history that breaks records. Rewriting me's star. She's already the women's basketball with the highest marketability player ever. What benefits does she receive from playing basketball for the United States if it means giving up what defines Olympic glory? Her brand doesn't require it to confirm her excellence. The global experience. She has already demonstrated her abilities at every level. The patriotic privilege of donning the Team USA jersey. That distinction wanes when the company handles you like you're expendable. But what does? If she leaves, will Team USA lose? Everything. The audiences, the scores, the cultural significance, the worldwide. The spark is Caitlin Clark. That sparks contemporary women's basketball. Sue Bird is aware of this, which is why she's unraveling behind the scenes, according to reports. However, this issue isn't limited to one player and a single number. It utilizes greater, more profound annoyances than women athletes in the WNBA and beyond. The struggle for equitable compensation, the need for secure travel, the fight for respect, the never-ending struggle for acknowledgement comparable to that of their masculine counterparts. When the most noticeable, the treatment of female athletes worldwide. The message is that she is disposable, reverberates throughout the league. Add in the conflict around the WNBA's impending CBA talks, the risk of a lockout, and years of players experiencing underappreciated, and this number dispute becomes more than just a drama, a line, a breaking point, or a symbol in the sand. As Caitlin Clark states, sufficient. She's not merely speaking for herself. She is speaking for all women who has been advised to have less gratitude. Yes, celebrities like Hugh Wilson and Cameron Brink was number 22 as well. In all-star environments, there's always been polite conversation regarding who defers when both participants share the court. That's typical, cooperative, but that's not what occurred here. There was no conflict. There was not even a dispute here. The number is being claimed by another player. USA Basketball decided on its own to take away Caitlin's signature number for no apparent reason at all. Last year, the possible number of All-Stars conflict never occurred because Caitlin was injured and unable to play, so any necessity for conflict, but in some way, USA Basketball anticipated and resolved a non-existent problem by pressuring her into a